That vibration in your steering wheel usually isn't warped metal. It is almost always disc thickness variation, or DTV. This is caused by uneven friction material left on the rotor surface, not the steel bending like a potato chip. You likely created this problem by braking hard from highway speeds and then keeping the pedal pinned down at a stoplight. Your rotors act as heat sinks. They absorb the massive energy of stopping the car. When you hold the clamp tight on a hot stationary rotor, the area under the pad stays incredibly hot, while the rest of the metal cools in the air. This thermal difference causes the resins in your brake pads to melt. They bond to the iron in that one spot. It leaves a friction print. Now your rotor has a high spot. In severe cases, the iron structure itself changes. Extreme localized heat converts cast iron into cementite. You can often see this as blue or black leopard spots on the rotor face. Cementite is a crystal structure that is significantly harder and more brittle than the surrounding metal. As you drive, the standard iron wears away faster than the hard cementite spot. This leaves a permanent raised bump. When that bump hits the brake pad during rotation, it kicks the caliper piston back. That mechanical kick forces hydraulic fluid up the line, fighting your foot pressure. That is the pulse you feel in the pedal and the shake you see in the wheel. Fixing this requires measurement, not guessing. You cannot see DTV with the naked eye. You need a dial indicator with a magnetic base. Mount it to the suspension knuckle and spin the rotor by hand. Watch the needle. Anything more than 0.02 of an inch of lateral runout is enough to cause a vibration. If the rotor is above the minimum discard thickness stamped on the hub, a brake lathe might clean it up. However, deep cementite spots are harder than the cutting bit on the lathe. They often survive the cut or return quickly as the rotor wears. Replacement is the cheaper and safer bet for long-term smooth braking. There is a critical step most people miss during replacement: cleaning the hub flange. Before you put the new rotor on, look at the hub surface where the rotor sits. If there is rust or scale there, you must remove it. Even a speck of rust the size of a grain of sand can cause the rotor to sit crooked. This is called rust jacking. Use a wire brush or a drill with a wire wheel attachment to clean that hub until it looks like bare metal. Apply a very thin layer of anti-seize to prevent future corrosion, then install the rotor. To stop the vibration from coming back, you have to manage the heat and the tension. Check your caliper slide pins every time you swap pads. If the grease dries out or the pins seize, the caliper drags. A dragging pad generates constant heat even when you are off the pedal. This ruins the thermal cycle. Clean the bore and apply fresh silicone-based brake grease. Do not use standard petroleum grease, as it will swell the rubber boots and lock the caliper. Watch how you tighten your wheels. Using an impact gun without a torque stick twists the rotor hat. This mechanical tension pulls the iron out of shape as it heats up. Always use a calibrated torque wrench. Set it to the manufacturer's spec, usually between 80 and 100 foot-pounds for passenger cars. Apply the force in a star pattern. This ensures the rotor sits flush against the hub without binding. Finally, bed in new pads immediately to seal the surface. This is the most important step for longevity. Perform 10 moderate stops from 45 miles an hour down to 10. Do not come to a complete stop during this cycle. Drive for a few minutes to cool the system, then repeat. You might smell hot brakes. That is normal. This process transfers a thin, even layer of friction material across the entire rotor face. It protects the iron and prevents those lumpy deposits from sticking later. Treat the root cause, or you will ruin your new parts in 5,000 miles.